Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host, Ty Christensen. I want to live again. And we've got Jordan Christensen on the pod.
Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
Zeus's petals. Oh, I wish I was never born. We got Cameron Mickle on the pod.
Excuse me. Excuse you for what? I burped.
You gotta say it more aggressive. Excuse you for what?
Excuse you for what? Well, this ratty old house is amazing. We don't have pneumonia. Walking around half naked. And
What are we doing with all these kids? I love when Dad says that.
Call us a happy family. What are we doing with all these kids? And we've got Valeri Mickle on the podcast, a.k.a. Mom.
Yay. She's the kind of girl that'll help you find the answers.
Very good, very good. Guys, we're discussing It's a Wonderful Life.
Yay. Most wonderful movie in the world.
It's the most wonderful movie in the world. We're discussing this movie. This came out in 1946. It was directed by Frank Capra. And it stars James Stewart, Donna Reed, Lionel Barrymore, Thomas Mitchell, Henry Travers, Beulah Bondi. How do you say that? B-U-L-A-H. If that's not a 40s name, I don't know what is. Or let's see, she was old in the filming, so if that's not a 19th century name, B-E-U-L-A-H. Beulah. Beulah. Beulah.
Boo.
Frank Phelan, Ward Bond, and a few others. Oh, and Gloria Graham. You can't forget her. So let's get into this movie. What was it like watching it for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast? Let's start with you, Mother.
Well, I wish I remembered my first time I saw it, probably with my family growing up. And you didn't get to put a VHS in or anything else. You had to just wait till it came around at Christmas time. And if you didn't watch it at that time when it was there, you missed out. So
could anyone imagine watching a movie like It's a Wonderful Life just throughout the year, like middle of July? It's a hot August night. I think I'll just put on a tape of Scrooge or It's a Wonderful Life or, A Christmas Story.
That sounds like our
Dad
family.
would.
That's right.
Watching Scrooge in the middle of the summer heat.
I know, right? But the cool thing about it is it's just such a timeless, the whole story is just beautiful. And I think the thing that I really noticed watching it again just last night, I realized that it begins with a prayer and it ends with a prayer, which I think is a beautiful way to start and end a movie. And I just love that it shows how, all his friends and family are praying for him in the beginning and how that starts the whole process of the whole movie. And then at the end, how he's praying and just his journey along the way. And that was just beautiful. I hadn't ever really, connected that together before. Brilliant.
Jordan, how about you? What was it like watching it for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast?
Well, I just have to say really quick, when you mentioned the prayer thing, Comedy Sports, which my wife does improv, every time they start, not every time, but sometimes the guy comes out and goes, all right, everybody, let's pray. And some people even get fold their arms and get ready, and he's like, gotcha.
You can get away with that in Utah, huh?
Yeah, it's just fun because, in a more religious state, that just seems more normal, right. Where it's kind of sad that we're straying from that. You hardly see that in any movies today. Honestly, watching it this time on rewatch, I just got emotional with that prayer. I'm just they just don't do that. And on top of that, the story, let's talk about amazing. I was thinking this time around, they really, I don't know if they'll ever make a movie quite like this ever again, which is kind of sad because, I do think that there'll still be great movies, just nothing like this. So, watching the first time, I don't know. We watched it a lot growing up.
It's kind of sad.
Because this is a masterpiece. It's so good.
I kind of feel like they did it a little bit with Bill Murray and The Repeat.
Ghostbusters?
Scrooged?
No. The Repeat.
What about Bob?
Day. What's the...
Groundhog Day.
Thank you.
I was talking about Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day.
But that was still a while ago, though.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I think there are a few that are like that just really bring that same point about. So
have fun editing that out, Jordan.
Sorry about the clock.
Yeah, what's going on back there? Jeez.
The world's most annoying clock.
Sounds like you're murdering a dove or something. 2 turtle doves for dinner. Cameron, how about you? Watching it for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast?
So I actually didn't have an opportunity to rewatch it for the pod, but I'm trying to remember I can't remember exactly the first time I saw this. Obviously, we've seen it like so many times. But this is one of those rare movies that like I think about like on a monthly basis, that I'll just like remember the story, and I'm just like, I don't know, just like the message is just like one of those things that you're just like, holy cow, like so beautiful. But yeah, just all growing up, just watching this movie, it's super quotable.
Cameron often thinks about if he wishes he was never born. Right? Is that what you think?
No, I just love
Because we all tease Cameron. We wish he was never born. We're not
absolutely.
teasing him when we say that. So.
Oh, Mom wishes I was a girl at least. So.
I thought that was
be
Dad.
Cameron. Jordan would still be Jordan.
No, I would
Cameron
be
would still be
Sydney.
Cameron if they were a girl. Well, actually,
No,
yeah.
you said you wanted to be.
Unless
Sydney
Grant was
nerd.
born, then a girl, that would be Sydney. Then you'd be a Cameron girl.
Yeah, Cameron, what an effeminate name you have.
Well, I like that about what Cameron said about that he thinks about it a lot, because I actually had my license plate. It said 1FL.
It said one full if.
It says
I-
one fillet of
One
fish.
full of.
One full life.
I know.
It's
It
one
was supposed
full
to be one
life.
full life. And it was interesting. Only, I think, like artistic people could figure it out. Others were
That was
like,
Mom's-
That's
one full
That's
of?
autistic, huh?
It's like, one full
autistic
of?
people.
That's like,
One full
do you
of.
think I put one full of on my thing? Come on, I couldn't
One
put all the
full of.
letters.
Well,
Well, and I think you had it on your phone.
One Philip.
I think you have this like everywhere.
Yes, that's true. I kind of feel like this is my theme for me in my life, because I feel like I have a wonderful
She
life.
wishes she was never born.
Mom's like, this movie's about me. Love it.
Yeah, Mom, what life did you give up to raise us kids, huh?
I know, right? I gave up my, I could just totally be...
I got rid of Niagara Falls. I want to see the world. I want to see skyscrapers. I want to see the whole thing.
I know. He gave up a lot, didn't he? But I don't think and that was, Jordan and I actually talked about this yesterday or today, and just thinking about, how much do we give up and sacrifice for family? How much do we give up and sacrifice for things that we think we want? Or can we have it all?
Well,
I
and
mean-
I just said, I don't know if this goes into nitpicking, and I don't mean to jump the gun here, but I feel like he didn't necessarily need to give up all his dreams for everything. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong here, and he should have just, sacrificed everything.
Well, if we read into the life he would have led if he hadn't existed,
Well,
looks like
I'm not talking about that.
would
I'm
have
just
been-
saying I think he could have traveled and left on his honeymoon. Like, he should not have taken all that on his shoulders, like, personally. But maybe I'm selfish.
Well, if he hadn't, the bank would have gone under, and then the building alone would have become Pottersville, and then even if he
Then the
went away
people
on
can
vacation,
move to another place that isn't
those people were
Pottersville.
helpless without
I
George
know,
Bailey.
right?
Okay, Potter, you're a scurvy little spider.
I think he could have easily been able to do those things, but I think it kept showing how life gets in our way of some of our dreams that we think we need and that we want, because life just keeps happening, right? Someone that, their spouse has health issues and now they can't do the things that they dreamed about. Your child needs you more than normal, or, just those things that happen. Jordo, he doesn't need me more.
Well, I mean, like this podcast is a great example. We talked about it for, Ty, how many years before we finally did it?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. When did the movie
Split come out?
Split come
Well,
out?
I mean,
yeah.
but we had been talking about it before that. It's just we finally started recording then, but then it was like a disaster, and then it wasn't until now.
A disaster. I thought that episode was pretty good. 2016, just sitting in a spare bedroom, just
like huddling
let's just go
around
back and
a mic.
forth. You're kind of breathing in my space here. Yeah.
I know, because you were like breathing in my face. You were like mouth to mouth. It was so uncomfortable.
Didn't Cameron
Like, well,
come
let's
home
speak
from
clearly
his
into the
mission?
microphone. That's
And
what
as soon as he got home from his mission, he's just like, let's do it. And you guys just
No, well, he
started.
actually was telling people, he was like, oh yeah, my brothers run this podcast, and I'm like, no, we're not.
So, you know
No,
what? That's
I
how
told-
you create.
No,
You
I'm saying
create
because you
before.
start telling people, and then Cassie started asking people for funds, and then I'm like, we don't need money. I could do this for free.
But that's how you create, right? You have to create something and then it becomes. That's beautiful.
Sorry.
That's a That's quite a saying that you got there, Mo. Got to create, and then something becomes.
Moral of the story:
I like
Cameron's
it.
the founder of this company. I own 100% of the stocks.
I was gonna say Cassie, but
How
I love how
Cassie?
Jordan gives all credit to Cassie.
What the
Love it.
fudge?
no, because Cassie was asking everybody for money, and then I get bombarded with all these texts. Everybody's like, "What's going on? Are you having money troubles? Can we help you in some other way?" And I'm like, "What is going on?" I'm getting all these texts from
Jordan,
random
we're all
people.
just really worried about you, you know? That's just a common theme every year. Just like, we're really worried about you.
All right, let's get back to the
man.
movie. I don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, so I don't remember a time, for me watching it the first time, I don't remember a time where I hadn't seen this movie. It was really weird because I'll never forget the scene where an adult man slaps around a kid in a drunken fitted rage. Like, I'll never forget that.
And
Mr.
bleeding
Gower
from his
in the,
ear.
Oh,
Yeah, so like I remember seeing them being like, I don't understand what's going on here, but I was like, that's pretty terrifying. I don't ever want to be slapped around.
and that age,
But then, like-
right in 40, what'd you say it was filmed in 40 some? They would do that.
Yeah,
You could
yeah,
beat up someone at
1946.
school. I mean, a teacher could hit a kid, and
That's right. He's your employee. You got to smack him around a little bit. Man, all these dumb Amazon and Walmart employees complaining how rough they have it. And then I'll show you an employer. How would you like to work for Mr. Gower for a nickel for a month's work, and then get slapped around in the face and because you refuse to
saved
serve
him.
poison to a customer?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
saved
Yikes.
his-
Why don't you give him the guy's thing
Jeez.
poison?
Yeah, get going. It's terrifying. So I don't remember a time when I grew up without this movie. I just remember watching it always. But as I grew older and older, I started understanding more and more, and the movie just impacted me more and more. And then I had the pleasure of showing this movie to my wife, and it's now our family tradition to watch this every year because I don't think her and her family had watched this very many times. It's just not a movie that they had in circulation. So showed them movies like this and Scrooge, and they all liked them, which was wonderful. And I'm like,
and
I
you
don't
have
know
the big
how you
poster
couldn't like this
of
movie.
It's a Wonderful Life in your thing.
I do have the movie poster. I created a movie poster box because I'm such a weirdo for movies, and I bought this movie poster, and it hangs up I don't want to say it hangs up too early, but definitely before Thanksgiving, and it stays up long after the new year. So,
That's awesome.
but
Mom, I just bought one
it's
too.
just nice.
Not the poster, but I bought one of those glowing movie posters. Oh, just saying.
Movie poster boxes, yes. That's okay, Jordan. I made mine.
It's my
so,
Christmas
Who
present.
likes movies more, I guess. You know.
You handcrafted.
Can't
yours.
buy your fandom to the cinema, Jordan. You have to earn it. So anyway, I love rewatching this movie every year. I get really emotional because the movie's very powerful. It's a very powerful movie.
I know, as many
So-
times as I've watched it, surprisingly, I cry every
No
time.
one's surprised.
And it's really cool because you actually get to see. It's a little funny now because like I don't buy for a minute that Jimmy Stewart is like a college grad. Like
Oh,
I know,
I know.
right?
like anyway. But
When he
it's
asked
great
her
because-
how old she was, and she's like, "I'm 18." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay."
In your
She's 18
dreams.
and he's in high school or
Well, they
college
start
grad,
18 and
going back to high
22, and then they go 4 more years. Yeah, and they're 22 and 26. But yeah, they're
Right,
They're like
right.
in their 40s or well,
And
probably
they haven't
30s.
changed at all.
late 30s, or whatever. But in the end, that's like a nitpick because in the end, it's kind of cool because you do see these stages of life. And as I watched it growing up, I was like, oh, like this portion of the movie is exactly how I feel. Like I was going back to a high school dance or whatever it was. Not something that I actually did, but like,
Yeah, Ty, when he's like,
watching him
"Hey,
go-
I need my gin," and Ty's like, "That's totally me."
it's totally me, dude. Yeah. Slap around my kids.
Jordan, you didn't fall into the pool underneath the school dance floor? What the fuck?
And I've got the key.
And I've
I've got the key.
and further,
Do you know that
did
there's
you know?
a pool underneath the dance floor?
I love he just shrugs his
Furthermore,
shoulders.
did you know? Yeah, he shrugged his shoulders. Furthermore, did you know that you need a key for it? And I have that key. And he just looks at him like, "Who are you? The devil? Bet you I'll give you your greatest desire to drown
I know,
Jimmy
to
Stewart."
I know, and if you watch that, the more I watch that, everybody jumping into that pool, I'm like, somebody had to have hit someone else by accident.
yeah.
You know, it's
Oh,
their
yeah,
keep
diving on top of
jumping.
people.
Well, I love that.
Get out of the pool! Get out! Oh well.
And he jumps in.
That's so awesome.
He's great.
I
He's
love
great.
those moments of just serious life and then just silliness, huh? That's so fun.
Yes.
When they're dancing
Yes.
in the house and they bring their mom down, just dancing and, playing. And it's just so cute. I love just that brings it, you really feel like you're looking into their life, that it's just darling. I love their family life.
For sure. So let's get into two of our favorite things. Why don't you start us off with, Mom?
So I love how they use the angel Clarence, and how they chose him because I loved how
I'm your guardian angel.
the one angel said about him, he said that he has the IQ of a rabbit, and the other angel said, but he has the faith of a child. So that's why he could help George, because of
The glowing nebula, Mom, is that what you're referring to? Yeah. The giant glowing galaxy.
And I love that Heavenly Father sent this angel to help because he was discouraged, right? And I love how he talks about he's considering throwing away the most important thing, and that the greatest gift that God can give you, and that is life. So
Don't cry.
I'm not crying, weirdo.
I'll bet you $5 that Mom cries on this podcast.
There's a solid chance.
Stay tuned, everybody.
And I love how I noticed it too a lot, because I was trying to come up with, or notice things that are said, and hee-haw. I mean, that is right from the beginning every time. That's just kind of their saying, right? That the friends say to each other and everything. It's so cute. Even when they're adults, they're like saying hee-haw.
I wish I had $1 million. Hot
dog. So yeah, that. And then my other favorite thing is Mary. I love her so much because she has the perspective. She already has the perspective, right, of what he finally gets. And that's
George Bailey, I will love you till the day I die.
That is so sweet, huh?
I'm thinking about going exploring.
She's a little girl. I know. Hey, brainless. Don't you know coconuts
Brainless.
Say, brain.
I don't like coconuts. You don't like coconuts? Say brainless. Do you know where coconuts come from?
I know. It's just so cute. And even, from that early time, I love that he has dreams, right? It's so cool that he has big dreams and he wants to build big things and he wants to do great things. And in the end, you find out he does, right? He has helped so many people get into homes.
Yeah.
So he really did accomplish what he wanted to and what he set out to do. But kind of like we were talking about before, he probably could have done both. Nowadays you can, right? And because I even thought...
I don't know, Mom. The movie Family Man taught me that, you can't have them both. You decide to have your family or live in an alternate universe without your children. It's crazy.
I know, right?
Crazy movie.
And that's what... It would have been fun to see if he could have gone on a trip with his wife later. But, I disagree a little bit with, like he said, my father worked so hard. He didn't even save enough money for me to go to college, let alone Harry. And I'm thinking, why? Why didn't you save some money? Why didn't you make some money? I get it that there's a point of sacrifice and then there's a point of taking care of you and your family.
Well, you're going to take over my job. What? Working in your crummy little office? Looking at the same desk every single day? Oh, I'm sorry, Pop. I didn't mean to insult you. What you do for a living?
I know, right? He totally says it's horrible. Yeah. I just love... Okay, so back to the reason that I love Mary is that she sees that old house as an amazing place, right? And I heard that she actually, when she threw the rock, they didn't know, but she actually threw it so good, and she did break a part of the window. And they didn't, because they were just going to break some glass, but she threw it so that it actually broke some glass.
Wow, women can throw a rock. That's impressive.
Yeah,
with her frail little body and her arms, women arms, yeah.
Well, and it's
just, we'll smash the glass for you. I'm sure you won't be able to hit it.
It's just like when who's the uncle?
Uncle Rico.
Uncle Billy?
No.
Billy.
Uncle
the
Billy?
Drunk?
Yes.
Uncle Billy?
Yeah, Uncle Billy. He leaves the wedding party, and as he walks away, actually in the studio, a guy totally broke something, made a mess, everything, and then Uncle Billy was smart. He just goes, I'm all right.
Yeah, played it off.
It was just perfect timing.
Famously, it was a mistake on set.
And you can watch his face, and you can totally tell that it wasn't planned. If you look at, watch George Bailey's face, it's kind of fun to know that wasn't happening. But yeah,
A
so
great impromptu
yeah.
moment.
So Mary, I just love her. How much she loves George. She even to not go on her honeymoon, she was okay with that. She went and she made a great place, the best she could out of a
Yeah, Jordan
Old
and Ty, would
haunted
your wife
house.
still be with you if you guys did go on a honeymoon?
I know.
Yeah, my wife would have left me, I'm sure.
Or at least gone to their own mother's house, right? Instead of go and actually try to accomplish something like
But
that.
it seemed
She's
like that
awesome.
was her dream, though. Like, she wanted the
Yes.
small town life. She didn't want like, she was a librarian without him. She's kind of boring.
Which
No,
I
ugly
kinda
librarian
doubt.
at that.
You remember me, don't you?
She's a pretty girl.
That's my wife!
That is hilarious. That she
That's my favorite line.
It's my wife.
Cameron, how about you? Two of your favorite things.
My first favorite thing is I just love the sequence of getting to see the world that without him. I think that's such an interesting idea.
Cameron's like, I'd love to live in Pottersville. It looks like the prime real estate. That's where I'm moving to, dude.
No, it's
Set
Sin
my shop.
City.
Ladies.
I've always wondered what that would be like, because to be able to have the opportunity to see how other people's lives.
No, you wouldn't.
Cameron, I'm not
No,
sure you would, because,
it'd be like,
it'd be really, really
everyone's just
sad
so
if
much
nothing
happier.
changed.
No, see, well, I just think it's super cool to see the difference that you make in other people's lives.
Again, if Cameron had this vision, he'd be like, wow, nothing's the same, and nothing has changed. Nothing has changed.
It's like that
like
Studio
I was
C
never
episode,
born.
Cameron, when everybody's life's better.
Yeah, everyone's life is better because he
they
wasn't
have
born, and
one
he's
like
like, oh
that.
my gosh,
Yeah.
That's
what is
hilarious.
happening? Yeah. So careful what you wish for, Cameron.
But anyway, I love that visual. I think it's such a cool thing to see the difference that he made. I think is really special. And I just think another one of my favorite things about this movie is I just think the comedy works very well, which is kind of surprising, because you definitely would not call this a comedy by any means. But it's just one of those old movies that just does it really well. It's kind of similar to Scrooge, where it's not a comedy at all, but there's just a lot of moments that I catch myself laughing out loud.
Ty would be acting in Cloud Atlas if I wasn't born.
That's right. Yeah, would have been a famous movie star. Jordan, how about you? You go your two favorite things.
Okay, so on this viewing, I was just really paying attention to the story, and I was just like, this is the most concrete story. Oh my gosh, just from beginning to end, like Mom said, kind of comes full circle. But throughout the entire movie, I was just thinking, so beautiful. I was getting so emotional at so many moments, and just how powerful and all the little things. And I was thinking about what I do in my life, and all the things and decisions we make, and like Cameron mentioned, the lives we've affected. And I love they said that at one point,
The Butterfly Effect.
they
Great
said
movie.
that you affect so many lives or something like that. I can't remember the exact quote, but I know how I sound like such a dork.
You affect so many lives. For better or for worse.
Are you talking about
he
at the
said
end?
strange isn't it? He said each man's life touches so many other lives. When he isn't around, he leaves an awful hole, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And
And
then
I
You're
love
saying, Jordan?
I love the quote where he says, there is never enough time to do all that we wish. But the most important thing is to say all that we wish to say in the time that is given to us. Is that the
in the
right quote?
time
Do I
that we
right?
have. Is that you hope
And suddenly
to do
you're not there anymore.
our other favorite Scrooge.
Oh, excuse me. I'm in the wrong Christmas movie. I'm in the wrong movie here.
and this movie, George Bailey, gosh dang, I know Mom said the wife is amazing, but George, I love too. I just, maybe as a kid, I didn't quite understand when he gets upset, how upset he really gets, but I just love kind of how sassy he is. When he first goes over to her house and he's like, and she starts singing, and he's like, what are you doing?
Oh, yeah.
Right? I love how our emotions and the thing, because he just found out that he no longer gets to leave and go, do the things
Harry
that
comes
he
back
wants
with
to
a
do.
girl. She's doing the plastic factory.
I know. And then it just more dreams are shattered. And so he's ticked, it's like, wait a minute, this was my 4-year plan now is changed. And I love how he said there's 3 sounds that he loves: anchor chains, train whistles, and plane motors. And Uncle Billy says, lunch is served, breakfast served, dinner served.
That's right.
Yeah, I
But-
wrote down a ton of great quotes. I can't wait to get into quotes.
Yeah.
But
So I appreciate you sharing. So I would say my two favorite things that I love Mr. Potter. I think he embodies a
Yes.
really crotchety old evil man. I think he was so
Yes.
great. I think his performance, the George Bailey, you think I'm a miserable old fool. And just
well,
like
Ty,
he's so
mentioning
great. Like,
him, like they literally
you called me a wolf, frustrated old man.
they,
That's what, like
the Hayes Code,
Thurston
Ty.
Howell the Third.
Back in the
from,
day, they wouldn't
yeah.
allow somebody like that to get away with what he did. But because it was so well written,
This is the movie we always refer to, right? The Hayes Code, yes.
Yeah.
Because in the end, he doesn't get his comeuppance at the end, but in the end, he does. He's a miserable man, and George Bailey
that's
doesn't
right.
go to jail.
This was one of those unusual that he didn't. Yeah, because
He didn't get his clear and like clear cut comeuppance
Oh my
where it's
gosh,
like, hey, we realize you stole the money and you lied,
He's
so you're
so
going to jail.
evil.
It was like
Who
he gets
takes
away with it.
$8,000 of someone else's when they?
I know,
they-
that-
That was so horrible. Are you
well, and
kidding
his
me?
right hand man knew about it, like not saying anything.
No, but even better when George Bailey goes to him, he's like, I need a loan, and he's like, gonna be that beautiful mistress that you have, seeing a beautiful mistress behind your wife, you know, like, and he knows that he has the money,
It's so
that he's
sick.
an honest man,
How
and
does
he's like,
that guy that pushes him around in a wheelchair not drown him someday? Just like, oops,
yeah, that guy
right off
too.
the
He's
edge.
silent-lipped. He's tight-lipped.
You know?
Hey, it's a good paying job. You work for the most powerful person on earth.
Oh.
I bet he's got some sweet perks, but he has to let his
you really
boss
want
do
to sell
some
your
pretty-
soul. Like my favorite
Yeah.
scene is when he's shaking his hand and he's just like, and you
I know,
just
he
realizes
realizes
he's shaking his
what
hands with the devil. No, no, no.
No, I
need to
don't
think
need
about
to
it.
think about this.
I don't need to think about this. I don't need a week.
And
I don't
that
need a
chair, he sits way down low. He just makes him,
Yeah,
you
lowered.
know, you are lower than me.
month. Great. So Mr. Potter, he reminds me of Thurston Howell the Third in Gilligan's Island.
Yes.
That underbite, rich
Yeah.
person. Just, oh, Gilligan, my boy. And just the,
Well, and
I'm going to tell you what I'm going to
just
do.
clarifying for people who don't know, the Hayes Code is mansplaining here, but the Hayes Code used to be what today
Well,
is.
only if you're explaining it to mom or you explain it to me.
No, just audience members if they don't know what that is.
Did you say mansplain?
Yeah,
though?
I'm mansplaining it. So what it is back in the day, before
Don't
they
think
had
that-
ratings
you keep using
like
that word. I do not think it means what you
PG,
think it means.
rated R, and PG-13, it used to be just everything was run by the Hayes Code instead of the MPAA. And they had a certain, like all these rules and things that you had to obey. And one of those was like, if you're bad,
Good guys win.
bad guys
bad
can't
guys
win.
lose.
Yeah, bad guys always have to lose. And because of how this was written, it was actually breaking that rule. But like Ty mentioned, it's like he was such a miserable person, they just let it slide.
And he doesn't win in the end. I mean,
Yeah.
he thinks he's going to jail. Happy New Year to you. In jail is the last time you see him. And technically, he doesn't get what
That's
he wanted.
true.
He
He
wanted
doesn't
to
get a
lose him,
win.
but everyone comes to George Bailey's aid, and he escapes going to prison. They pay back the loan.
But he did steal the money though, so
But what I think, what I kind of thought about that this time too, like you're saying, but they
He's a miserable old man.
yeah,
Gonna
they
die
don't
alone.
show him, and because the toast that they give to George is a toast to my big brother George, the richest man in town, which Potter was, right? Potter has
He
the
lost
most money,
it.
but
That's right. He lost
that
it.
what is the richest man
He
in
loses.
town? It's a person that and that was the other thing.
It's who has got the money, Mom.
I know, right? And
the
that's
rich
what
in spirit,
was the true
Zion.
story, because no one was with Potter, right?
turn into
He's
a seminary
alone
lesson.
on
Except
Christmas.
the guy that pushes him around, Mom, as we established. That guy is with him.
I know, he's like, you
He's
will
like
sit
Mr.
with
Burns
me and you
and
will enjoy
Smithers,
my
yeah.
company.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Burns. That's probably who he is. We just don't get enough time with him. He loves Mr.
See, that
Potter.
wouldn't that be
you know?
cool if that guy walked away from him at the end of like, okay, I've had enough.
I'm
Push
out.
yourself away.
And you should return that $8,000, and if you don't, I will send the police. That's all they needed was a 2-minute
yeah,
scene.
and
where they
I
did
love
that.
Bailey's like, shame on you, and then he opens the door, shame on all of you.
That
Does he
goes
say
for you
screw
too.
or, yeah, no, he does.
No.
Say, that's a shame.
Yeah,
I think you could have said screw all of you. Screw you, screw all of you. I was thinking of Tommy Boy. I was thinking of that. That's the one.
Yeah.
Screw you,
Yeah,
screw
they
all
wouldn't
of you.
quite use- couldn't
Freaking-
use that
Yeah, they
back
wouldn't have said
then.
that. Love Mr. Potter. I think he's one of the best. And then I get really emotional every time I talk about it and see this movie when he's offering a prayer when he's in. It's not Tony's, but it's the place
Yes.
before. It's
Oh,
Mr.
yeah.
Gower's bar or something like that.
That is the
when he's
other
like
prayer.
praying, he's like, Father in heaven, like, I'm not a praying man, but show me the way. Like
Yes.
I've offered many
And then-
prayers like that.
And then he gets
as
punched.
a father.
He's like, that's what I get for praying.
Yeah, yeah, and I've offered many prayers like that as a father and a husband. And as you go through life, it can get pretty stressful at times and rocky even. Hits way too close to home.
Oh.
And offering a prayer to pouring
Can
out
I
your
change
soul
my
to
bet
Heavenly
on
Father.
$5 for mom crying to Ty?
I'm not going to cry, even though I'm getting emotional. I'm
And
not going to cry.
I like that the answer to that prayer, right, Ty, that heartfelt prayer that he was giving and that we all can give at different times. It's not answered immediately. It might be harder. I mean, I cried for a year after my divorce. So yeah, that peace, that comfort doesn't always come immediately, but it does come, right? God sent help, and God was watching out
That
for
is so
him.
interesting. He even said, he's like, I got a punch in the face for a prayer. And he's like, no, he's like, I am your answer to the prayer.
Yeah. And he
you're
didn't want to
He
believe
showed
it,
up
right?
later.
Because we kind of want to feel sorry for ourselves too.
Yes.
Yeah, he didn't want to believe it. In fact, how many times did he need to be reminded, like, you don't exist, George? He's like, I don't understand. Why is my lip not bleeding? Why don't I have supervision pedals? Why is this guy not recognize who I am? It's like, how many times do I have to tell you, George? I've told you don't exist. And he just, like, couldn't
He
believe
did
it.
say
But
that,
in
like,
the end, it's
15
like, there
billion
was nothing
times.
like this movie. So, like, I get that
Yeah.
they were, like, driving that point home. But like in the end, like in the 40s, this movie came out and people were like, oh my gosh, like this is the craziest thing, right? Like you're giving a man a glimpse into what could be.
Also,
It's very, very significant. But I just love watching it now. You're like, George, wake up. Like, don't you understand you don't exist? And life would have been, it's just like, I gotta go find my daughter. And he's like, you don't have kids. And he's like, yeah, where's my wife? And then he sees his wife. That's my wife. It's like, leave me alone. It's like,
what
you're
about our
going to end up
kids?
in
And then she's like,
jail. You're gonna go to prison.
One of my favorite,
kids.
I think one of the coolest things about this is because I think it's like, I can't decide which one I like better because Scrooge does a very similar thing to where he gets to see how other people react, like either in the future or also, but they can't see him. But then in this one, they can see him, but they don't know who he is. And I just
pretty
think
weird.
it's like such a cool thing to like interact with people, or such a wild like idea to interact with people that like like our family, and like they don't know who you are. Like,
right. Yeah, it is very interesting. I like that you said that, Cameron, because you're talking about the Ghost of Future, right? The
Christmas
Ghost of
Future, yeah.
Christmas Future, and then he's able to like see everything, but no one can hear him or see
Even
him.
Christmas Present
in
when
this
he
one.
sees like his
Right.
Bob
They don't
Cratchit's
see him,
family,
right.
and then also at his nephew's house, and he's like, no, wait, he likes you. And he's like, see, I told
Right.
you.
He's completely there in like a spiritual sense. He's witnessing what's happening, like a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, it's like, hey, you live here, and you're like interacting with everyone, and he managed to piss the whole town off and nearly get arrested in just a matter of a half hour. Like that's pretty impressive, George. Wow. So went from like the most popular man in town to the most wanted man in town.
And I didn't think about it, but it is a little bit like The Vow, where she gets her brain memory wiped. So it is tough to like, wait a minute, all those things had to fall into place for them to have that experience. And
Yeah, or like Rick and Morty, when Morty accidentally forgets the saving his spot in time, and then he like has to go through this entire time and anyway, it's hard to explain.
but I like that it comes back around and they figure it out.
Yeah, it's the episode where he what's it called? The save spot where he what's it called?
Yeah.
He does from the
Ty,
Prestige,
what
right?
is
He's
it
like, I
called?
prestige you, Morty. Vat of Acid episode, yeah.
Ty, did you watch the fourth Shrek movie? It's literally this movie, but
Oh, really?
The fourth Shrek
yeah,
movie?
because
Oh,
Shrek
really?
says, "I wish I was never born," and he goes through this whole thing.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
that's hilarious. I never saw
Dude,
that
Very
one.
Shrek
original.
jumped the shark and became a meme, dude. That guy, I don't know, dude, it's so disturbing.
After the second one, he
And
lost me.
During the second one, he lost me. Oh my gosh, I love it. So, do you guys have any nitpicks you guys wanted to throw out? Like I said, mine is just, he's in constant disbelief. It's like, how many times does Clarence have to tell him, like, you don't have any papers. You weren't there to save his life. You weren't there. And it's just like, he's just like, of course I have what does he say? Of course I've got a car here. It was parked right here. And he's like, you didn't hit my tree. And it's just so funny.
Yeah,
Like,
the one thing I would say is just like going back to like that scene where he's getting slapped around, like that honestly, like as a kid was kind of terrifying. Like it, like and I like
is that what's gonna happen to me when I get minimum wage job, Mom?
like I wouldn't
Yes.
take it out because I think it just gives a very real sense probably of that era. But like
Yeah.
it's just very like jarring, like seeing a kid just get like literally like beaten right in front like of somebody. I was like, oh wow, like this is insane.
It's pretty wild too when you find out that he was completely distracted at the letter of the loss of his son in the war. He literally poisoned some capsule or put the wrong medication. I guess it's not medication. He puts poison in these capsules and asks it to be delivered. But thankfully George Bailey did deliver the capsules. So
yeah, and all real, I mean, believable human beings that make mistakes and like people you can relate to and two-dimensional characters. Just the story is so great.
Yeah.
And as I noticed when I was going through taking notes, I realized all of the people that George Bailey saved in one way or another. And it's pretty powerful if you think about all the different people. At first it starts with his brother, right? Harry, when he's...
Saved him from the drowning in the pond.
Saved him from the ice, right? And then I love that they show that at the end that he was a hero, right? His brother was a hero and had saved people because George had saved him. And Mr. Gower, he saved, right? And he saved the building loan from going under. He saved who else? Oh, even at the end, remember Violet? He gave her money to help her. She wanted to start over, go somewhere else. So he gave her money to go and try to go somewhere else. He just, every person he comes in contact with, he helps. Oh, and he even helped, I don't know if you guys remember, he helped Sam, Sam Wainwright. He told him where he could do his factory and, make better money. He just all of these things, he just could continue to help others really be successful. And think about all the jobs that he created for people because the factory had closed down, and now he brought back more work for other people. I really saw all those things that he was starting to bring back and see. But yeah, if there was a nitpick for me, I have to say, I feel like he could have had more in his life. I want him to go on that trip, with his wife and go see some of those places that he wanted to see. Because when you go and do that, then you come back and you're like, oh my gosh, life is great. Life is wonderful. And, you kind of have that perspective that I feel like Mary always had. But it was, it would have been fun to have him be able to have a little bit of that too. And not have to, see what life was like without him to figure that out. I guess that was the one other way to do it.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. I mean, talk about sacrifice. Remember who he said lost the $8,000? Who did he say when he said it to Potter? He said, I misplaced $8,000. He didn't blame it on, Uncle Billy. He took accountability for that mistake, which, and even he had threatened Billy's Uncle Billy's like, well, someone's going to jail.
Going to prison for you. Yeah. It's not going to be me.
It's not going to be me. But then he took accountability, right? Which he didn't need to. But what a good guy. Gosh, just a good heart, right?
I'm going to prison. Isn't it great?
That's great.
It's pretty wild. Attaboy, Clarence. Yeah. just wonderful all around. I love that you documented all the lives that he changed from. I think that's so powerful because, again, it's hard to know that the mark that someone will leave behind. But this movie does a really good job at explaining, again, it's the people that we're closest to that ultimately that we, without this miracle of being shown what your life would be like if you hadn't been around, fundamentally just changing forever the course of this little town. And again, outside of this town, no one's the wiser, but to this town, the small, tiny little town, it was the world to so many people. And in fact, so crazy that the entire town had changed, and that people, the business it brought in, all those kinds of things too, which was pretty interesting. Pottersville was very different kind of place with different kind of crowd and different kinds of people.
I think it's super cool because it's kind of similar to there was one time I heard a talk by John By the Way where he talked about Abinadi and how he felt like he probably felt like the most unsuccessful missionary. He got burned at the stake and never saw a single convert. And he's like, well, his only convert was Alma. He's like, and look at all the people that Alma brought to the gospel because of Abinadi's faith. And I feel like that's kind of a lot of things too. We don't realize the difference. For example, also I almost said George Clooney, George Bailey, like he just in saving his brother's life, it's like how many lives did his brother save in the war? It's like that's just another thing, and then how many of those people that his brother saved did those people save lives and make a difference?
Right.
And so it's just like you can't even put into like you can't quantify like the difference in the lives like affected through like his good actions.
Yeah, it's kind of like your guys' even your missions, right? You know, the lives that you guys touched and, you know, made a difference in someone's life. And, you know, you don't know how many people, you know, they tell that story about the one kid that he said, oh, I only baptized one little Scottish kid or something. I can't remember, a dirty little Scottish kid or something like that. And he ended up being an apostle or something and, you know, touching so many people or whatever it was.
I'm sure that apostle loved being called a dirty Scottish kid.
I know. They were, what? I'm trying to think of the exact words.
Pretty sure he didn't use dirty. I hope not. Baptized a dirty kid.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Let's get to some of our favorite quotes from this movie. Let's go around.
Why do you stop annoying people? Oh, I'm sorry. Hey.
I love he's like, why don't you kiss her and stop talking her to death? And
Yeah. Why are you stop? Why
he's
stop
like, oh, you
talking
want me to
to
kiss her? And he's like, youth is wasted.
Why don't you kiss her instead of
He
talking
said,
her to
youth is
death?
wasted on the wrong people.
I like that. It just the dancing bully reminds me way too much of Back to the Future with the redheaded kid. He's like, "Hey, mind if I cut in?"
Oh,
and he
yeah,
takes her away
yeah.
from. It's also his name is George. Like there's way too many similarities between the
Interesting.
the high school
Yeah.
drama, and he like socks him right in the face, knocks him out. George McFly and George Bailey. I just like that. And like, but I said George Bailey is the bully. He takes Mary away from that poor kid.
Cameron, going back to that scene where he's like, I'll show you some kissing. I'll show you some kissing. Then I'll put hair back on your head. And then he's like, and then she falls into the bush. And then I love it when he's thinking about it. He's like, oh, maybe I can sell tickets.
That was so cute, huh? I love his personality.
So cute, him refusing to give back the clothes to the naked woman.
Yeah. It's great, dude. Thinks about objectifying her. It's so wonderful.
I love the part too when she whispers in his ear. She's like, is this the ear you can hear out of?
I'll love you till the day I die. George Bailey.
I love you, George Bailey.
Yeah. At the end, Clarence wrote in his book, remember, no man is a failure who has friends.
I love.
You hear that, Daddy? Anytime a bell rings, an angel gets its wings.
Oh my gosh, that's really good.
I love Annie
That's right.
when she's
I
like,
like
I've been saving money for a divorce. If I ever got a husband. I'm like, what the fuck?
I love the opening quote when they're talking, the angels are talking to each other, and he's like, a man is sick and needs our help. Is he sick? No, worse. He's discouraged.
Yeah,
awesome.
right?
I don't know why I love that quote. It's great.
And his prayer then is, please get me back. I want my wife and kids. I want to live again. Please, God. Please, God.
There's a lot of sassy characters in this movie. I love it so much. There's so much good banter back and forth. Like that maid, and she's like, all children should have been girls.
And the mom's like, if all children were girls, well, never mind.
And I love it. And they're trying to tell the story when she's around, and she's like, she like leaves, and then she's
Do
listening.
you hear that? Yeah.
And when
I heard a time that one of you luckheads said it.
remember when Violet walks by and they all just stare at her? I love that. And the man, and they're like,
The car nearly runs him over at the crosswalk.
he's like,
He's like, whoa, whoa.
he's like, do you want to? I think it's so clever and so cute, you know?
Yeah, George and Mary's banter too when he's like, how old are you anyway? She's like, 18. He's like, 18? Why, it was only last year you were 17.
What do you want, the moon? I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down. And what happens then? Well, then you can swallow it, and the moon will light up your fingertips and your
And it'll
tips of your
shoot out
hair.
of your hair and
Am I
shoot
rambling?
out of your fingertips. Oh, it's so beautiful.
Cameron, do you want to shout out just things that you're looking forward to seeing or things that you want to see?
Sure. Yeah, I've just been watching lots of stuff lately. Lots of good. I watched The Nice Guys, so fetching funny. I watched Signs with Jordan and the fam, super good. I watched Encanto in theaters. It was actually really enjoyable. I liked it better than with the other one, Coco. Then watched The Change Up, really funny. Watched Leon the Professional, amazing. Watched And then watched American Psycho, which was wild.
Yeah, for sure.
And also Scrooge again for the 100th time.
Yeah.
You were very
Heard that you
good to
guys
watch
watched
that
that.
again, Cameron. Your daddy.
All right.
On your beautiful winter's morning.
We thought of you.
And the beautiful day that I dream about.
Will be
Beautiful. Beautiful, Karen. Bye, Karen.
Peace.
Love you, Cam.
Love you.
Bye. I love you guys.
So, just last minute thoughts, Mom. Did you have anything else you wanted to add about this movie? You were in the middle of saying a quote about swallowing the moon and letting it shine on your fingertips and
You do really good on
tips
that.
of your hair.
Yeah, I guess I just, because of the way that it makes you feel by the end of the movie, you just know that George Bailey has a wonderful life and that just a normal, just a regular guy can make a lot of difference in the world. And that,
I guess one person can make a difference. Enough said.
yeah,
Stanley, Spider-Man.
Although slow and dangerous behind the wheel, old people still can't have a purpose.
Not quite the same. That's
a good one.
true. Don't go dying on me.
and
Brilliant. This is
I
brilliant.
love, obviously, to me also just the family reference of the beauty of, like you said before the quote, what are we doing with, we call this a happy family. What are we doing with all these kids? Oh yeah, you call this happy. Why do we have to have all these kids? And I realize when we're upset, everything looks different, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When we're having a bad day, we take it out on everyone around us, and mostly those that we love.
Or a little model bridge,
Kick it
makeup that you
down,
made.
destroy
Just
it,
kick down
whatever
a
we have to
table.
do. And I think that's a good learning thing too, just seeing that, because that's real life, right? We have a bad
Even
day at work, you're going to
the
be mean
poor
to your...
little banister railing, the little knob on the
Yeah.
top of the
He just
railing.
wanted to throw
Trying
that
to
thing.
destroy it. He's ready to huck it.
And
And he
each of
kisses
his-
it later.
And how each of the kids can just be annoying, just like, brothers and sisters can annoy each other,
What am I, a dictionary?
He spelled frankincense. I'm like, I don't know.
I know when she started spelling that, I'm like,
F-R-A-N-K, I'm
I
like, that's
couldn't
it.
spell that either. That's why we need
Franken.
Google. But,
Autocorrect or autospell.
but the beauty of just everyday life things, right? And how we're all intertwined with each other, how each of us give to each other, how each of us, not only family, but then outside of that, friends, right? And I like how they even intertwined, like, if you noticed Sam's life or Potter's life, right? They had what it seemed like what he was looking for, right? They had the money, they had what he was trying to get.
He says it's the opportunity of a lifetime.
That's a great line, isn't it?
George, I want you to hear this. You can invest in plastics.
I don't
That's the
want
opportunity of a
to get
lifetime.
married. I don't,
I don't want plastic. I don't want to get married.
I don't
He's
want
making
That's what I'm scared
violent
of.
love to me, mother.
That is hilarious that she says that, isn't it? Because she's starting to get mad too.
You tell
right?
him to get out of here.
That's how we get tied to each other's emotions, right? We're not supposed to, because she was in a great mood, right? She was excited for him to come over, but
Oh, and I love when she breaks
smashes
that
the
record.
ooh,
Smashes
yeah,
it.
right. She's like, "Oh, my dreams! You're ruining my dreams." But how perfect that! And then I loved how she is. She was a good woman, where she was like, I can make him a little bit jealous right
Yes.
now. Hee-haw, Sam. It was just enough to get him, like, wait a minute. So, yeah, true love and love of family, love of kids, love of friends. I don't know. It doesn't get better than It's a Wonderful Life.
Look no further, folks. Well, thanks for sharing. Mom, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, guys.
We end every movie podcast by sharing movies that we've seen lately and movies we're looking forward to seeing. Is there any movies that you've seen lately?
Seen lately. I watched Scrooge with Dad. Love that movie. I cry in that movie, too, every time. Know how it gets me. And with Albert Finney.
It's probably the
Has to
part
be
with
that
the
one.
ghost of future, the ghost of Christmas Future, where he reveals his skeleton face. Mom cries at that's very emotional.
No,
He's
how about
falling
the
down
scene
the
you
hall.
always skip? You always skip, Mom, when he's floating with all those ghosts.
Oh, I can't do that part. Yeah,
Marley,
that freaks me out. I know. It's like, wow, for an old one, that's like haunted, like creepy.
There's not a single version of this play or this movie or any rendition of A Christmas Carol that doesn't frighten me at one scene. Always.
Yeah.
They always do.
It's true.
And Scrooge is actually pretty tame. If you watch one of the older ones, there's another terrifying one where the Christmas Ghost of Christmas Future is absolutely haunting.
Oh, wow. Huh.
Like full-on Grim Reaper, shadowy fog,
A
everything.
Dementor looking thing.
Dementor looking, yeah.
The other show we've been
Pretty
into,
terrifying.
we've watched it, I think 4 times now, is Seinfeld's 23 Hours and Counting or whatever it is. We've just loved that. It's so fun because it's just it's definitely to our age. So Dad and I can laugh a lot, especially about when the woman says, when the air is on me, it's like saying, a bear is on me, because that is totally me. It's all of a sudden, I'm so hot. Dad can attest to that. And I'm trying to think if there's any other shows. Oh, and Greatest British Baking Show Season 9. We've just been busy moving in, so I don't know if I've had a lot of time to watch, but I am looking forward to watching any sappy Christmas movie, romance. I'm all there. So, and I want to watch Christmas Story again, and Elf classics, wonderful.
I rewatched Ad Astra and then back to back with, what's the movie it's kind of based off of? Actually, it's not kind of, it's very based off of. I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
2001 Space Odyssey? Oh, Apocalypse Now.
Thank you. And so I watched those back to back and I'm like, oh yeah, that is a remake of it. Because Quentin Tarantino said it's a remake. And I rewatched it and I'm like, oh my gosh, it is. But I much more enjoy Ad Astra because the other one's dark. Very disturbing.
As most war movies are.
Yeah, but love Ad Astra. Oh my gosh, amazing movie. And then I also rewatched, you guys mentioned The Breakfast Club on the last episode. I rewatched that today. Very fun. And then I just love this movie, guys. I love this movie. I want to put it in my top 100. It deserves to be there, but
You can't get it in your top 100?
no, it deserves to be in the top 100 movies, the best movies of all time. But in my top 100, I don't know. I just like a lot more,
Jordan likes faces dragged across concrete
Exactly,
as
Mom.
opposed to
I listened to that.
happy.
Yeah, that just listening to you guys talk about it sounded so awful. I'm glad I didn't watch
Yeah.
it.
No, don't let Jordan convince you to watch Brawl in Cell Block 99.
Oh
Mom.
no,
Do
he's
not let him
good
watch.
at knowing my limits.
Yeah, Ty.
Well, he's slowly becoming desensitized and corrupting you.
We watched Fargo together, and Mom loved it. So
Yeah.
And then because he edited it perfectly, and I tried to watch it with Dad. That was a mistake.
Mom's like, I don't remember any of this.
I'm like, this was not on here.
This is not the movie I watched. Jordan has that effect on people. He's seen it so many times. He knows
He knows
exactly what
exactly
time
how to
markers
take.
to skip.
Well, and he knows me. He knows exactly what to take out. That's kind of fun. He knows his mama.
Well, Jordan's crazy. This is in my top 10 movies of all time. I love this
I
movie.
mean, it should
it's
be.
timeless.
It's your top 10, Ty?
It's in the top 10. I think it was number 2, if I recall correctly.
Wow.
So,
That is so special.
which is surprising that Dark Knight actually beats it because, I still watch this more than I watch Dark Knight, but I attribute that to the holidays as opposed to
Right. Those holidays
just
keep coming
because- yeah.
around.
If there was a Dark Knight Batman day of the year, I'd probably watch Dark Knight every year. So we should probably start that holiday. Batman anniversary or something. Maybe there was a Batman birthday.
Dad, we're itching to talk about Live Free or Die Hard at some point.
Talk about how great of an
And you
actor Bruce Willis is.
You need to do Scrooge, too.
Oh, of course, next Christmas, because we're going to save some of the Christmas movies for the next year.
That sounds good.
Yeah, there's 8 good Christmas
Dad?
movies,
I'll
Mom.
have to watch it though to remember what happened.
We'll have to watch it, 8 times during the year just to...
Whatever, lady.
Get ready.
Be
for
ready
it.
to have something new to say about it, right?
Who watches 2,700?
Notice the way he wettens the wick on the candle. He's so cheap. I'm like, yep,
Oh,
Dad,
my God.
we
I
we
know,
did observe
Dad
that one.
notices Dad. I know, I love it. He points out the same things.
Or the dirt under the fingernails. He's like, look at the attention to detail.
Look at the attention to
It's
detail.
amazing how they got ink underneath his fingernails
Unbelievable.
to make it look like, he pours over his books, his ledgers. Get off me ledger, you'll ruin the binding.
You ruined the binding. Doesn't it all bring you back to when you served your mission in England?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, for all their kind of quirks, there's something about the English people. I mean, think about this.
That's not quite right. You just want to nuke them right into in existence, right?
But I mean, think about how many prominent church leaders in the restored church came from England, right? And how many of
Your relative,
how many of the
Thor.
original apostles went and served in England? I mean, I think at one point they had 7 or 8 serving in England. So obviously they could have gone anywhere. They could have gone to Africa. They could have gone to Germany. They could have gone, wherever. But the Lord sent them to England. So I think that says something.
Are you doing your shopping list right now?
No, I'm just looking through Scrooge and Albert Finney and Alec Guinness's, IMDb.
Dude,
I don't know
is such a
how
good
he
actor.
did not win an Academy Award for that.
He didn't. He should have. Man, it was.
That's because the
amazing.
Academy is...
The Academy's stupid.
It is.
Yeah.
But even back then, you're like, the guy played 2 roles, okay? And he not just played 2 roles, he did them. I mean, that was.
He did win
That
a
was
Golden
50
Globe for
years
it.
ago.
Just thought you guys should know
Oh, he
that.
won a
Albert
Golden
Finney
Globe.
did win
Yeah,
a
that's
Golden
kind of
Globe
like the
for
runner-up
Best
in
Actor.
the minor league.
That's still cool.
right. Yeah, but again, other people do recognize it, even though it's not.
I love that it's a
The Academy
tradition and
Awards.
that, we can all laugh about it. And I wonder what, Cameron's not on here, I wonder what Kelsey thought. She watched it for the first time with them on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Well, she
I
was
think you have to.
asleep for the first
I think by
part.
Yeah,
the
she was
third
asleep.
time you watch it, then it starts to, because come on, December the 25th, correct? December the 25th.
The musical part of
Da,
it is
da,
actually
da, da, da,
very
da.
remarkable. It's a great score.
I know.
It
it's
holds
so
up. It's a great
Yes.
musical.
Yeah, it's a great
I,
musical. I love how
I think it's great. My brothers-in-law loved I Hate People.
at the very beginning, he's all hunched over.
I hate
He's all
people.
hunched over in his
Yeah, they love
house.
that. Well, this turned into a Christmas fanfare, didn't it? Covering the candle. So,
you're like, gotta put that hand in front of the windows and blow it out.
Creme of mustard. An old potato. That's what you are.
That's what you are.
Crema cheese.
An old
Old
potato.
potato. That was fun rewatching that.
it's too fresh on your guys' mind. We were actually talking about a different movie.
What do you
Talking
think about
It's a Wonderful Life, Dad, but
honey?
I really like A Wonderful Life. I do. It's a
it's a good movie.
great story.
But not that this isn't fun, but
You guys have
Good
to
thing
go.
we gotta-
we
We
gotta
love
end it,
you.
yeah.
Ty,
So-
you need sleep.
yeah. So this movie, it's been a wonderful time discussing It's a Wonderful Life. Everybody, this is Futro Hidden Movie Gems. Leave us an email, futuremovies@gmail.com. Like us, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and
And everyone needs to watch this movie.
check us
Yes.
out on
It is, and
Spotify.
everybody watch. You'll understand it more every
YouTube,
time.
follow us, like us. It's free. And check out this movie. I highly recommend it.
Yes.
And this has been Future Hidden Movie Gem signing out. Peace.
Bye.
Love listening to you guys. You guys are awesome. Love you. Bye.
Take care. Bye, parents. Love you lots.